welcome to another great podcast. This is Satavisa. For today's podcast, we have with us Aditya Maheshwari, Director of Customer Success Management, AppsFlyer INSEA NZ. Hello Aditya, welcome to Analytics Insight. It's great to have you here.
Thank you for having me, Satavisa. It's good to be here.
Now, can you please give me a brief about your company?
Of course. AppsFlyer is a global leader in mobile attribution and marketing analytics. And we have a suite of products, the core being the attribution product, and then a lot of products on top of it. So we basically empower marketers to understand, how their campaigns are doing, where they should be spending their money, how to better engage with their users, basically, how to do more with their marketing budgets. And because we're dealing with so much data, privacy, security is a core to AppsFlyer. Customer-centric culture is a core to AppsFlyer, and that is why we are number one in this business. We have about 12,000 customers, 10,000 plus partners, more than 90,000 apps using AppsFlyer, 18 global offices, 1,500 employees, and over 72% market share in what we do. So I think in a nutshell, if I were to sort of summarize, we help marketers measure the full life cycle of their users, protect their data from fraud, connect this data that they're generating across multiple channels, ad networks, technology partners, marketing partners, then activate this data to create seamless user experiences. And finally, I think report the impact of marketing on their bottom line. So we were also the first unicorn in the attribution category, primarily because of the innovation first approach and our best in class product and services.
That sounds great. Now, I'm a little interested to know about AppsFlyer mission and vision in supporting and growing SMBs in India.
Of course, I think the world that we live in, it's changing very rapidly. Everything is evolving, and I think the only certainty is that everything is going to change. And Oren, our CEO, he often talks about how a lot of people are trying to predict the future, but that's just, how impossible it is. So what we're trying to do is basically focus on things that will not change. Things that will not vary with time, and those things are our customers. They are sort of the life and blood of how we work. Privacy and security is always going to be around. In fact, the focus is only going to increase. Enabling innovation, making sure that the market is able to build on the data that we have, and data accuracy, because we are in the business of providing insights. The data has to be accurate. So while we are a B2B company, but at the end of the day, we serve B2C companies, and those B2C companies have end users. So our customers, who are these businesses, they use us to provide great user experience to their customers, and essentially use us to preserve their privacy. So our vision actually is the same: enabling better and safer digital experiences. And what we're trying to do is basically maximize end user value, the experience that they get, and privacy preserving ecosystem collaboration that we're building. So that's a little bit about our vision. Now, the Indian mobile ecosystem, it's changing very rapidly. Users are changing, their needs and desires are changing, and what we call Bharat, these users are growing with an impressive spike in the markets. So this market is expanding beyond the top cities in India. The propensity of our middle class to spend more money is increasing, and to ensure that our SMBs are able to cater to this ever-changing need and demand of their users, attribution and analytics is of significant importance. So on one side, we're trying to build, obviously, the cutting edge technology and product to provide marketers with tools to capitalize on this user base. But on the other side, we're also trying to educate the market, especially the SMB businesses, with the limited knowledge that they have around impact that analytics could provide on their overall growth. So essentially, trying to help SMBs on how to pursue growth in the rural and semi-urban markets with a well-defined regional strategy, with vernacular content, etc. And I think finance, gaming, utilities, these are the three verticals which are seeing a lot of innovation. So great place for SMBs to be in and realize the potential of this new Bharat.
Well, that's amazing. Now, can you please give me your opinion on how, over the last decade, how the mobile and Martech industry has been evolved?
Yeah, so the app marketing industry has seen a significant amount of shift in the last 10 years. In the beginning, I remember it was all about spray and pray. So marketers were spending money, spraying money essentially, and hoping that users would come, praying that users would come. There were really no clear ways to measure marketing outcomes. From that to, conversations started shifting towards the very top of the funnel marketing measurements, like the impression and click measurement. So at that point, payouts used to be done on cost per mile, which is, cost per 1,000 impressions, and cost per click sort of methodologies. And as measurement partners started coming in and evolving, the market was changing, and marketers started to speak about measuring the volume of installs. I remember back in 2015, growth was defined by the number of installs that you were getting for your app. So later, conversations shifted more towards the actions that users take inside the apps. So it was more around login, registration, viewing of products, watching videos. So these events basically that generate business value. Um, and I think then slowly the focus started going even more down the funnel. The focus shifted to transacting users, and customer acquisition cost was a metric that started coming into picture. And I think it was probably 2017, 2018 when most marketers in some form or the other had started thinking about retargeting strategies for their app. Then I think there was some focus on owned media. I think the seeds for owned media were always there, but it was 2018-19 when owned media really took off. Most people were trying to find that balance, the sweet spot between paid media and owned media in this year. So I would say 2019 probably was the year when owned media got the focus that it deserved. And recently, the change that we're seeing is that more and more marketers are talking about incremental growth. Marketers are speaking about the amount of money they'll generate if they spend an additional 100 rupees on their marketing efforts. So more and more marketers have started talking about efficiency in marketing. And I think finally in the last 2 years, the conversation is more about privacy preserving measurement methodologies. So if you think about it, from a time when there was no measurement to granular user level measurement, we are now entering this era of privacy preserving measurement methodologies. So we've come a very, very long way from where we started. Uh, and when we're taking these strategic decisions or any sort of campaign related decisions, we never really focus on one user, but always on a cohort or group of users. So in this current new world, marketing rather is going towards a more privacy centric and aggregated sort of method, where you collect and use only the relevant information that you have. You measure incremental revenue from your campaigns, and then you have also KPIs based on customer experience. Essentially, measuring return of experience from your marketing efforts. That I think probably has been the journey of evolution in the mobile world in the last 10 years.
Thanks, Aditya, for explaining that so well to me. Now, let's talk a little about Indian app market. And it would be great if you can enlighten me about the trends and potentials.
Sure. So the Indian app market, it has seen a phenomenal growth, and if you think about it, this has sustained over the last few years. If I remember, correctly, 5 years ago, the primary focus was tier one geographies. That's where most users were coming from. That's where most transactions were coming from. But with better internet connectivity, cheaper smartphones, a large part of tier two, three, four geographies in India have come online. New markets have been created basically. So until a few years ago, these tier two, three, four users were installing apps but weren't really purchasing online, and that has also changed in the last few years. These users are actively using internet, they're consuming vernacular content, they're browsing products, and they're buying them. A good number of them, in fact, are using online payment methods to pay for their purchases as well. So this is a very promising opportunity for the Indian app marketers. One thing that I do have to say is that Indian users install and uninstalls app very often. They don't retain as much. So unless an app provides value daily to the users in India, people install and reinstall often. Uh, I think all that said, fraud is a huge challenge in India. About 20% of traffic that we see is fraudulent, and this is much higher than the global average. Marketers in the food and drink segment, travel, entertainment, and finance segment, I think they should be more vigilant, more careful, as these sectors are most affected with fraud, and their fraud rates go up to 30%. So I think sometimes I feel we are now in a situation where too many new apps are chasing not too many new users. So marketers really need to leverage their budgets more cost effectively through retention strategies, through owned media, and things like that. Another, I think, key thing for the Indian marketers is privacy. I feel like as a nation, we haven't focused enough on privacy. And now that consumers are becoming more aware, it is important that as marketers and brands, we also become more aware, more privacy centric as well. And today, iOS devices are restricting user level measurement. Given iOS does not have a huge market share in India, this hasn't really impacted, the Indian market. But Android has already announced the privacy sandbox. So the time is not far when we'll get impacted. We should start thinking about more first-party data, more top-down analysis, incrementality, predictive analysis, etc., for decision making.
That sounds really interesting. Now, I'm curious about some of the major challenges that you have faced in this company, and please tell me how you have solved them.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, in the last 10 years of our existence, we've faced numerous challenges, and I think, to say the least, the industry is so dynamic that so many changes happen so quickly. And with each change, sometimes there is a challenge, and then that challenge also brings with itself an opportunity. So, if you think about it, we are at the center of the ecosystem, where on one side we have partners, and on the other side we have customers. And any change that impacts our customers, it impacts us. And so any change that impacts our partners, that also impacts us. And I think, to tell you, one of the biggest challenges that we faced, or rather continue to, I think, face till date, is the fraud that exists in the ecosystem. So back in 2015, we had started seeing early signals of fraud already. We didn't have an offering back then, so we opened up our APIs for the market to build solutions on top of the data that we had. But we very quickly realized that, because of our scale, because of the position that we have in the market, overall visibility, experience, and with the solid engineering team that we've gathered, we will be in a much better and more strategic position to cater to our advertisers and ad networks by building a solution to fight mobile fraud. So we ended up building one. That's how this fraud piece we tackled. Then I think another huge change that the industry is seeing right now is privacy. I don't want to call it a challenge per se, but it's a change, and with every change there is this new opportunity that comes up. And we're also used to raw data, user level data. And now that we don't have access to it, so how do we get the same level of insights, right? So we did a lot of innovation on top of what data we had to ensure that the market does not get impacted. Our customers continue to get the insights that matter to them. Specifically in case of iOS 14, we did a lot of innovation on top of the SKAd network framework. We built something that we call the Conversion Studio, a single source of truth dashboard, etc., to innovate on top of the iOS challenges. And then, there are also cases where raw data is not available, and to ensure that our customers, they get the benefit of the raw data, we started building the privacy cloud and data clean room products. So I think the theme around how we've tackled some of these challenges are the four pillars that we have as a company that we sort of live by. And I'll name those four pillars for you. We are very customer obsessed. Privacy and security is a core to how we operate. We want to enable innovation for market to come up with innovative solutions, and then data accuracy. So that's broadly how we've tackled all the challenges that we've faced in the last 10 years or so.
Amazing. You people are doing a great job. Now, if we talk further in this idea of privacy, what would you suggest to the companies? Like, what should be the basic ways to curb these acts of fraud?
Sure. So I think privacy, and whenever the word is mentioned, it is a fantastic question, and at the same time, it becomes a hard question as well. And I think a framework that we've built is we think from the perspective of our customer, basically the end users. So if a solution or a product or a feature that we are building can provide great experience, can provide good privacy at the same time, that's our idea of privacy. That should be the idea of privacy and of an ideal definition of privacy. So think from the lens of a customer, create great user experiences, deliver great privacy, and the user experience and privacy piece should not happen at the cost of the other. So that, I think, is the definition of good privacy. Then there are massive changes that are happening in the market in terms of measurement and privacy, and what used to work a couple of years ago will not work today or will not work in the future. So one way to sort of solve this problem and help stakeholders really understand how to navigate this privacy centric ecosystem is basically by taking a privacy first, innovation centric approach towards products and services. So that's our guiding principle in terms of how we build products. And at AppsFlyer, we work very hand in hand with our customers to make sure that they are able to navigate this new world in the right way. And regarding, I think, fraud that you brought up, so we built our Protect 360 offering to provide app owners with real-time fraud protection, post-attribution fraud detection. But to think about it, the ball does not really stop there. Eliminating fraud is a joint responsibility between ad networks, our customers, and us. And I think we are working together with all of these parties to go above and beyond to ensure that we really try to eliminate as much fraud as we can.
Thanks for explaining that so well in so much details. Now, lastly, I want to ask you if you can share some of the brief success stories that you have with some of the top AppFlyer customers.
Sure. So AppsFlyer is, the attribution platform of choice for some of the world's leading brands like Cred, Dream11, Disney Hotstar, Alt Balaji, Paytm, Nykaa, Swiggy, Byju's, Big Basket, and PhonePe, to name a few. And I think speaking about success stories, there have been quite a few that we've had, but maybe we can cover, maybe three of them today. So let's start with, Hotstar. They are India's media streaming giant. They wanted to reach out to users who'd previously interacted with their app but were dormant now. And AppsFlyers data, together with our audience segmentation solution, became a backbone of this effort. They created audiences, dynamically uploaded them to media partners, and overall they saw a good increase in Hotstar's retention rate. So that, I think, is about Hotstar. Then I think Dream 11 is another one. They were looking for a way to launch and manage complex marketing campaigns effectively and at scale. So they needed a platform to have all of their media mobile acquisition data in one place, and AppsFlyer became that place. In fact, through our the referral program, the user invites feature that we have, AppsFlyer helped them drive a higher conversion rates, more retention using the referrals as compared to their paid media. And I think the last one that I want to talk about is Alt Balaji. So owing to our reputation for accuracy and trustworthiness of data, flexibility in measuring data and the fraud detection, the Alt Balaji team chose to move back to AppsFlyer. Alt Balaji's marketing campaigns, they had to increase in the scale, in the numbers, and the complexity to match the massive growth and revenue targets that they had. And we helped them achieve 24% increase in install efficiency and some decrease in campaign costs. So yeah, I think those are some success stories.
Well, that sounds amazing. I'm sure this is definitely going to help all of our listeners too. Thank you, Aditya, for joining us today. It was great talking to you.
Thank you, Satavisa. It was a pleasure.